CNN is a marvelous innovation. What does that mean? It's not just an invention, the idea of 24-hour news, which is an invention. Somebody had to carry it forward and make it work.
That was our goal, to connect the world. Remember, this was before the internet. It was before computers. It was the first global news network.
An innovation like CNN can actually liberate or enlarge people's knowledge in countries where they've been denied free access to information.
Ted Turner's cable news network launched on June 1st, 1980. But before that could happen, a launch of a different kind had to take place. On October 4th, 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the first satellite, signaling the start of the space race and what would become a revolution in global communications, leading to the first U.S. domestic communications satellite, Westar 1, launched on April 13, 1974. While satellites were revolutionizing communication from space, back on the ground, the fledgling cable industry was wiring the nation to receive distant signals and increase programming, challenging the over-the-air television monopolies.
Started in the 1950s when cable first began as a community antenna television service. The service it provided was giving people, for a fee, what they couldn't get because of their location, which was over-the-air broadcast signals. The convergence of satellite technology and cable technology really made it possible for cable services like CNN to come into creation and to be provided at everybody's home around the country.
But it would take the vision of individuals to see the global possibilities of the convergence of these two technological frontiers. In Atlanta, Georgia, Ted Turner was making his mark in the new cable television industry with his station WTBS. In January 1976, he invented the first superstation, gambling a fortune on satellite transmission for cable. The big three networks fought to keep his independent station from competing. But the rebellious Turner fought back, lobbying Congress about the evils of network monopolies, winning Federal Communications Commission approval for his plan, and scoring a liberating victory for the future of television in America. This set the stage for Turner's key innovation, which would come in 1980, with the Cable News Network, the world's first 24-hour real-time news channel.
This is the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite.
Prior to this news revolution, Americans got their television news from the big three network monopolies ABC, NBC, and CBS. The news was shown in half-hour, pre-packaged, and edited broadcasts that ran 2 to 3 times a day at set hours. Growing in popularity were televised news magazines such as 60 Minutes, first broadcast on CBS in 1968. The popularity of this new form of broadcast journalism was heightened by the public's cynicism, following the erosion of trust in government as a result of the Vietnam War, Watergate, and the economic woes of the nation in the 1970s. By 1980, Turner's timing of a 24-hour news network synchronized with a thirst for news and information, as Americans looked to reassert their voice in their government, and America struggled to redefine its place in the world.
And despite Vietnam leading to this new sort of isolationist tendency, we still do want to be kept abreast of what's going on in the world. And the foreign reporting in particular, I think, was a real innovation and contribution that the early CNN had to offer.
The launch of CNN on Sunday, June 1st, 1980, was a triumph of technology and journalism.
To provide information to people when it wasn't available before, for the American people whose thirst for understanding and a better life has made this venture possible.
When we went on the air, we were going to be the world's first 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, all over the world television news network.
However, Turner's bad boy image garnered him little respect in the serious news industry. Sam Donaldson of ABC referred to CNN as the Chicken Noodle Network. But Turner soon showed that there was a substantial and eager audience for all news all the time. In 2 years, his 24-hour service was seen in 13.9 million households via cable television. To a public used to highly edited nightly news, seeing live 24-hour news on CNN had a compelling immediacy.
The innovation, of course, was the creative leap in seeing news as it happened. It wasn't a past event, It was now.
But it was in 1991 that CNN and the power of real-time television coverage took a global leap forward in the face of media change forever. From the start of the 1991 Persian Gulf War, CNN was the only news outlet with the ability to communicate from inside Iraq during the initial hours of the American bombing campaign. While other networks were ordered out, CNN stayed. In the White House, in the war rooms, and in living rooms all over the world, over 1 billion viewers watched as the first live, instantaneous, real-time war unfolded on their screens, as it happened.
People became much more involved in the news and in events as a result of CNN, not just around the corner, but around the world, because the technology advanced and enabled us to do that.
In 1982, Turner began having meetings with leaders from all over the world and working on satellite distribution deals to make CNN not only the world's first 24-hour news network, but the first independent international television network. CNN International was launched in 1985, and the impact of 24-hour real-time news went global.
We were trusted as an independent entity, independent of any government, and that was absolutely critical to us.
What I know and what we experienced is that CNN opened up the world, and it provided access to information unfiltered and in real time in people's living rooms for the first time in human history.
Many of us really got hooked on CNN watching Tiananmen Square. And maybe the most famous picture of all of the lone Chinese dissident standing in front of a tank. And that really shaped, I think, how many people all over the world thought of Tiananmen Square and how they looked at it very much through the eyes of the dissidents and the students and not through the lens of the Chinese government.
For the first time, government repression was seen live in action around the planet. Karl Marx meet Marshall McLuhan, announced Newsweek magazine in May of that year.
The Cold War era was an era of walls, and so the fall of the Berlin Wall was really a metaphor for the fall of many walls.
Momentous changes happened around the world precisely because they were being seen as they happened, before the cameras.
Whole countries were educated in democratic traditions, in some cases our democratic traditions, as a result directly of CNN.
With CNN, citizens could monitor theirs and each other's governments and compare conditions across the world. Frontline coverage enabled all people to comprehend problems as well as see potentialities.
How does the rise of CNN 24/7 real-time, always-on global television foster Marshall McLuhan's vision of a global village? It creates it. It wires it. It connects it. The advent and the rise of CNN completely blew up the traditional news models that we had prior to the arrival of CNN and the cabling of America.
Today, 30 years after the launch of CNN, 24-hour real-time news has become a part of the daily life of people around the world. CNN provided models enabling millions to be informed in new and beneficial ways. However, in the constant swirl of 24/7 information that we live in today, this innovation, intended as a tool to empower and unify, has the potential to misinform and divide.
All technology is inert. It's just what it is. It's not good or bad. It's how people use it.
Is the quality of the information of a level that allows people to be informed so that they can be free and self-governing, as the Founding Fathers discussed.
For the first time in history, a majority of the world's citizens live in nations that are electoral democracies that need fair and accurate sources of information to thrive and expand. In this brave news world of real-time 24-hour information, it is we the people who must be responsible for seeking out what is fair and accurate. It is we the citizens of the world who must rise to the challenge of this innovation in order to preserve our right to be informed, self-governed, and free.
We intend to cover all the news all the time. And since we're going to be on for such a long period, continuously, we sign on June 1, and barring satellite problems in the future, we won't be signing off until the world ends.